that leads me to your favorite story and mine. And I know you said on your show it's inside baseball. It's a little inside baseball, but the audience will appreciate it because while it's an inside baseball story about media, it's so indicative of the larger media and what consumers are feeling and seeing when they read the paper, when they see television, and they think, who's writing this nonsense? Like, who is pushing this bullshit on me? And that brings us to the Washington Post. So as you guys discussed on your show, this all starts with like interminable pest Taylor Lorenz, who once again caused trouble at the Washington Post. And then things just proceeded downhill from there. So Taylor Lorenz, once again, is back out there. She wrote a piece on people on YouTube and on the internet who benefited from the Johnny Depp Amber Heard defamation trial. And in her piece that went to print, she said she had contacted two of the YouTubers who she named in the piece. The two YouTubers fought back and said, yo, that's not true. You never contacted me. And then instead of being like, so sorry, that was my bad, we tried, or whatever the real reason was, she blamed her editor. That was inserted without my permission. It was a miscommunication. And, you know, they were not the big features mentioned in my piece. My piece was about many more important things than them. Just fucking say you're sorry and shut up. Stop.
Yes, Megyn. Yes, Megyn. Yes. Exactly right.
And then she's replaying the editor. Then even CNN, Oliver Darcy, the far left guy, even he's had enough of her. He weighs in saying, yeah, she's like claiming, you know, sort of playing the victim here. Hold on, I have it written down here someplace. And, you know, kind of she did it. Okay, here's what. He called her out on her series of tweets blaming the editor. And she was claiming, when she blamed her editor, she was the victim of a bad faith campaign. Here she's the victim, of course, because she's always the victim. And she responded to Oliver Darcy with this. No, actually, this type of coverage is so irresponsible and dangerous. Not speaking about herself, right? Speaking about Oliver Darcy. It's misrepresenting my words to amplify a manufactured outrage campaign by right-wing media and radicalized influencers. Here we go. Which is driving a vicious harassment and smear campaign against me. And CNN is gleefully piling on. Same woman, right? She outed libs of TikTok and then claimed she was the victim there. Went on MSNBC, said she's pulling out her hair and she's plucking at her skin and she was near suicidal because Tucker Carlson once said something not flattering about her. Online hate unleashed against me. She's in the business of generating it, but she can't take it when it comes back her way. She recently claimed that the Drudge Report was doxing her and harassing her. And then Matt Drudge actually contacted her and said, who? And she was like, never mind. It didn't happen. I was lied to.
It was a completely made up, just made up lies. Yeah.
Right. So you guys take it from there.
Well, so not only, you know, was that a lie, which she said about the Drudge Report, she also showed up on the doorstep of the family members of libs of TikTok, an anonymous Twitter account. Like, think about that.
There's so many layers. Like, basically my favorite way to handle this is the way we handled it in our last episode is just stick a quarter in Smug and wind the toy and let him go.
So, it's a very long saga. Number one, for her to say, so she says that Tucker Carlson started a hate campaign because he used her name on air. He said her name on air. She considered that like a hate crime, right?
Yeah.
When her job is not only giving people's names who want to remain anonymous, she in an article posted the address of where Libs of TikTok lived. And we all know why. It's because she wants to send a mob. That's how the left works.
And then they self-edited it and claimed it never happened.
Yeah.
Again, lying.
And so yet again, she portrays herself as a victim in the aftermath of doxing Libs of TikTok, where she does this news piece saying that, oh my goodness, it's like the worst people on the internet find out where you live and they come after you and it's horrible. And that's basically her business model. That's what she does for a living. And then in the aftermath of that interview where she famously like attempted to cry, you know, when everyone starts making fun of it, isn't that what you do all day? You reveal where people live and try to send mobs after them. She says it was very insensitive of that cable station. I think it was CNN. The way that they portrayed me, again, making herself
she's the victim.
And so
it was MSNBC.
She's throwing editors under the bus, being like, I'm the victim here of poor editors. She did the same thing when she was at the New York Times. They must be so happy that they're rid of her. And she's doing the same thing again at the Washington Post.
It's incredible what these publications will put up with from her. It's, you know, she's always the victim of every single article that she wrote.
It's unreal. It's unreal.
And then, like, she clearly made an error here. She did not contact these sources. And her paper said that she did. In her piece, it said that. And then when she's called out on it by media critics, by lots of people, even there, she plays the victim. But as you point out, that is her MO. We never go to air without it. Here is that piece where she cried on MSNBC about how mean people online are. Stand by.
I've had to remove every single social tie. I had severe PTSD from this. I contemplated suicide. It got really bad. You feel like any little piece of information that gets out on you will be used by the worst people on the internet to destroy your life. Mm-hmm. And it's so isolating.
And terrifying.
It's horrifying. I'm so sorry.
You're fine.
It's overwhelming. It's really hard.
It's like, if you watch the whole piece, they all were like, and me too, I'm a victim too, and my harassment's worse than yours.
Journalism over acting, because I mean, that was just this poor attempt.
Yeah.
Trying to cry on
You almost want to say, okay, Amber.
Yeah.
and that's the thing is, so this latest instance of where she in the article claimed that she reached out to these people, she made the unfortunate mistake of two things. Number one, these are two attorneys. These were attorneys who are giving their opinion as lawyers on a trial.
The Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial.
Which comes with a lot more credit than some, just a middle-aged lady who watches TikTok all day. I think they might have a better idea and handle on this.
Right.
And so she says that she's the victim somehow. The problem is these people and the way that the media is going in general. Taylor counts on being at the Washington Post, an institution for journalism.
Yeah, this august institution.
Yeah, that she can just do this to people. Well, they've built their own audiences online. They have their own communities, and they're fortunate for that because they can get out their side of the story and how Taylor lied.
Right.
Normally, and what Taylor does to many people who aren't in that position, she finds a regular person who doesn't have their own audience that doesn't
have a platform, doesn't have a megaphone, and she attacks them and ruins their lives. And nobody's letting that person back on TV to talk about their PTSD from losing their job and their livelihood. Nobody cares about them. But Taylor Lorenz gets to go on national TV and cry about how unfair her life is. This is someone who went to a Swiss boarding school.
And she had a tweet about how she's as a middle-class individual, she went to an 80,000 a year Swiss boarding school. If that's middle class, I mean, I want to hang out with your friends.
You know what year she graduated, Smug?
Sometime in the 20s, right?
Unbelievable.
Wait, it's funny because she tries to paint herself as this ageless. She wants to be like a Gen Zer, and she's not. Yeah. She's I think she's a boomer. I don't know what she is, but she's at least in her mid to late 40s, according to most reports.
But she refuses to just say what her age is, and now it's become this continuing thing where it's just tell us what your age is.
What was your last?
That's my producer saying mid to late 30s. See, I don't know. That's the thing about Taylor. She's erased all records.
We said this on the episode 2 days ago, I think, Megyn, that somebody on Twitter said that Taylor Lorenz has this same birth a medieval king in or about this 10-year period.
Yeah. It's because she said her age is one thing to the New York Times.
Yeah.
She says her age is a different thing to the Washington Post. And even on the Internet Archive, she has sent a letter to them to remove, they can't archive any reference to Taylor Lorenz. It's insane.
Yeah.
So she tries to remove any trace of herself on the internet. But her job is to try to go through everyone else's internet history and ruin their lives.
It's a protection racket. And the media reporting industry, like Oliver Darcy and these people, and God bless them for trying on Taylor Lorenz, but it's such an insular world. It's getting really hard to get serious media reporting about media. And that's why shows like Ruthless and you, Megyn, are so important for people to hear, because these folks won't really criticize each other.
Nope.
They won't hold each other accountable. And that's the real problem with their industry.
Yeah. This method of you being the wrongdoer and then claiming that you're the victim when people call out your BS, your errors, your bad behavior, is so trendy. And that brings us to stage 2 of the Washington Post meltdown, which is the greatest. It's you didn't see this one coming, right? Wait, what? What's happening? And I love... I was listening to you guys. I think it was you, Smug, who said something about this Felicia woman who's behind this whole Washington Post is being exploded from the inside. You're I love her. Go, Felicia,
Yeah,
go.
she's an absolute hero. She's holding accountable the systems of power
She
and
won't
injustice
stop.
within the Washington Post.
Yeah.
So tell
The
us what
best
happened.
part-
Start with
well,
step one of that saga. There was a retweet by this guy named Dave Weigel and explain what happened.
Oh, so Dave Weigel has this retweets a tweet that's on the internet. It was like all women are
Bipolar or bisexual.
You just have to figure out whether it's polar or sexual or something like that. Like clearly a joke, right?
And he's at
you can
WAPO.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also a Washington Post journalist who happened to defend Felicia Sonmez when she got herself into some hot water about tweeting about Kobe Bryant's rape allegations as the helicopter is still on fire, right? And
Yes.
just like the most tasteless thing, this is where Felicia comes in. She calls him out on Twitter, right?
For retweeting,
Even though he
that
defended
joke.
her, now he comes under scrutiny because he retweeted, a stupid joke. It's fine. And instead of just being silent or whatever, she piles on. She tries to
Or if you're-
create a
look,
shitstorm for him.
I don't have a lot of sympathy for people who are terminally offended by everything else that somebody else does. Like, just take care of yourself. But we live in a world where everybody's terminally offended. So let's just pretend like you are offended by this. Most people in their workplace would go to that person and say, please don't do that. It's offensive to me. Like, I feel like it demeans women, what have you. If that didn't work or you didn't feel comfortable about it, I guess you'd talk to an editor or something like that and be like, hey, can we just try to have an internet policy or something so we don't have this kind of thing? That's what most people would do. Not this lady.
She's like, it's time to burn.
She's like, I'm taking this fucker down to the studs.
And not just not just quote tweeting him and saying, I don't think this is appropriate, like saying, I can't believe this is allowed in my workplace.
Yeah.
She's like, I love working somewhere like this.
Yeah.
And she shared a byline with him like a couple weeks earlier. See, that's just beautiful. Like, that's how I knew. Okay, we got this is a live one.
Yeah.
This is going to be a problem over here.
Yeah,
And
this
so
is
it
live
turned
one.
into just this fight where every blue check on Twitter jumps into the ring, and
Right.
you got to pick a side. The thing is that Weigel, he's been at this game for a while. So we mentioned on the show, he used to be at the Washington Post and was let go because he was part of this group called Journalist when President Obama was running the first time in 2008.
There's a listserv that basically allowed all of these left-wing journalists to coordinate talking points and help elect Barack Obama.
Their stated purpose was to elect Obama, journalists. And so when this came to light, Dave Weigel was let go. And so he had to go to other publications, whatever. And then he makes his way back to the Washington Post.
Of course, can get rehired after that.
Yeah,
Naturally, no problem.
A funny little wrinkle about that is his job was as a conservative to cover conservatives, right?
Sure.
And when he was fired, guess who he was replaced by, Megyn? Jennifer Rubin. So they got a real hot hand over at the Washington Post with getting conservative columnists.
Visionary.
But what happens here is that it's not just like a one-off thing. She proceeds to go on like a Steve Schmidt Twitter tirade over 72 hours where she's laying waste to Dave Weigel, all of her editors, her colleagues. People are chiming in like, please, for the love of God, stop.
And she won't. Her bloodlust is unquenchable. I mean, she's still going, I think now. She was at least last night. And I mean, other reports, just being first of all, Dave Weigel deleted it. He apologized for it. He's groveled on his hands and knees to be like, please just stop. And she's like, no, more. The entire institution must burn.
And so then Weigel gets unpaid, sent away for a month from the Washington Post. They give him a suspension 1 month, no pay.
Over the
And so then
retweet.
she'll be accountable. Yeah, for the retweet. And then she's like, okay, who's next? And there was a coworker who put out this string of tweets where he was like, okay, everyone just calm down at the Washington Post. He's a journalist there.
Yeah.
He's like, everybody just calm down.
Jose,
then
right? This is Jose.
Jose Real. And then she quote retweets him and she's like, how dare you? How dare you tell me to calm down? Don't you realize this is just more abuse for me? And then she gets the blue checks to come after him. He has to delete his account. This guy deletes his account.
But first he's like, Hispanic and gay. Stop it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can't.
And that doesn't work.
And Megyn, all he's saying is can we just be kinder to each other?
Yeah.
That's the offensive thing he said.
Super offensive. And so she's like, here's how I'm kicking off Pride Month. I'm going to get He says I'm the only like gay Mexican reporter at the Washington Post or something. She's like, Happy Pride Month. I'm going after you next. And so she sends a mob after him. And now she's continuing it. Like she's keeping, like, she quote retweets him again and again. She's like, oh wow, he blocked me. What an abusive place this is, the Washington Post. Like, yesterday, the Washington Post.
Yes, get to that, because they said that's a fun piece.
Yeah, so the Washington Post basically sends like an internal email, their editors, of like, we demand a like collegial, friendly environment.
We demand.
And then you see at like the exact same time, all the reporters of the Washington Post, they must have been told.
They're just like tweeting from a script.
Yeah. They're like,
it's
I enjoy
weird.
Working at the Washington Post. While not a perfect institution, I enjoy the collegial
It is
environment.
collegial and it is.
It's like hold up a copy of today's newspaper and blink twice if you're alive.
It's like at gunpoint, they're forced to send out these like hostage letters of like, I enjoy working at Washington Post.
Are you tired of feeling like someone's always watching you on the internet? Maybe advertisers know a bit too much about you, or you're just concerned about the privacy of your identity. Using incognito mode will not solve the problem either. IPVanish VPN is here to protect your right to privacy and to help you stay anonymous online. IPVanish helps you safely browse the internet without exposing your private details to third parties. You can use IPVanish on your computer, your tablet, your phone, even devices like your Fire Stick when you're streaming media. When you use IPVanish, all of your data is encrypted. IPVanish makes you virtually invisible online. It's that simple. IPVanish is offering an incredible 70% off their yearly plan for our listeners right now, with a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's like getting almost a year, like 9 months for free. IPVanish is super easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you are instantly protected. Take your privacy back today with a brand rated 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Go to ipvanish.com/Megyn and use that promo code MEGYN to claim your 70% savings. That's ipvanish.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.